many of you have probably been waiting on this, as have I. But the WNBA All-Star Game ratings have come out, and all I could think of right off the bat was 4 little letters. F-A-F-O. F around and find out.
Jacy Sheldon's hit to Caitlin Clark's groin didn't just sideline the WNBA's biggest name during the most crucial week of the season. It also set off a financial collapse that the league is scrambling to cover up. What was supposed to be a celebratory All-Star weekend quickly turned into a ratings disaster. And yet, the WNBA continues to deny the obvious. The connection between Clark's absence and the league's struggles couldn't be clearer. But the response from officials makes one thing evident: their priorities are not what fans expect. So, just how badly did the ratings suffer without Clark? And what exactly did the WNBA commissioner say about the whole situation? Let's break this down. July 13th marked a turning point. During what should have been an ordinary play, Jacy Sheldon drove her knee directly into Caitlin Clark's groin. The impact was unmistakable, and Clark immediately crumpled in pain, grabbing herself in obvious agony. What made things worse? The referee stood by and watched. No foul, no whistle, not even a review. This wasn't just a missed call, it was a blatant, targeted hit that went entirely unpunished, with 3 officials watching it happen. It wasn't basketball. It was an assault on the league's brightest star. Slow-motion replays made it even more disturbing. You can see Sheldon's knee deliberately collide with Clark's most sensitive area. Clark's face contorted in pain. Her body language screamed distress, and yet nothing was done. This wasn't incidental contact during a fast-paced play. It was deliberate, a knee to the groin on national TV, and no one in stripes lifted a finger. The officiating was beyond incompetent. It was dangerous. And this isn't an isolated incident. All season, Clark has been on the receiving end of elbows to the head, blindside shoves, eye pokes, and punishing fouls that would have resulted in ejections if they were aimed at any other player. There's an undeniable pattern here. When it's Clark being attacked, officials look the other way. It's like a silent league-wide memo went out that said, "Do what you want to, Caitlin Clark." And now, she's not the only target. Players like Sophie Cunningham have joined the list of athletes absorbing flagrant fouls without justice. She, Clark, and Aaliyah Boston have taken more brutal hits than anyone else in the WNBA this season. And yet, officiating continues to be wildly inconsistent, especially against the Indiana Fever. Fouls that would be called instantly in other games are completely ignored when Clark is on the receiving end. Meanwhile, her team gets whistled for the smallest touch. When news broke that Clark wouldn't be playing in the All-Star game, the internet exploded. Fans immediately connected the dots between Sheldon's dirty play and Clark's absence. But the real blow came from the ticket market. Prices for seats at the All-Star game crashed almost instantly. This wasn't just about disappointment, this was about dollars. Fans weren't willing to pay premium prices to watch a game without the one player who's actually driving the league's momentum. Before the injury announcement, tickets were going for an average of $262. With the cheapest seats priced at $121. This game was on track to break records. But just hours after the news dropped, those same tickets were being dumped for just $64, a 48% plunge in value overnight. It wasn't just tickets, the entire resale market collapsed. StubHub and Vivid Seats were flooded with desperate sellers, trying to recoup any cash rather than attend a Clarkless All-Star game. This is what happens when your league depends so heavily on one star and then fails to protect her. The referees didn't just let a foul slide, they cost the WNBA hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost revenue. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, this should have been a wake-up call. Fix the officiating. Protect your players, especially the one who's practically carrying your league on her back. Nobody is asking for favoritism, just fairness. The fallout from that one uncalled foul didn't just ruin a game. It triggered a chain reaction that exposed the league's fragile foundation. Let's talk ratings. The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game saw a devastating 40% drop in viewership compared to last year. Ticket prices plummeted. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, usually packed to capacity when Clark's on the court, had visible empty seats during a premier event. The visual was stunning: whole sections of unfilled chairs, normally crowded with Clark fans in Fever jerseys. And it wasn't just a weak turnout. This was a full-on fan boycott. You can't spin it. The message was loud and clear. Without Clark, we're not interested. All season long and last season, to every Fever home game was a sellout. Clark brought in crowds wherever she went, but her absence created a vacuum, and the fans voted with their wallets and their feet. For the first time, the WNBA had to face the reality of what the league looks like without her. No crowds, no energy, no buzz. This was a warning shot. The league better pay attention. Clark's presence means more than points and assists. She transforms arenas. She draws crowds before games. Fans line up to buy her merch. Bars and restaurants fill up hours before tip-off. Local hotels are booked solid. That's the Clark effect. She brings economic vitality wherever she plays. But when she's not there, ticket sales crash. Merch sales tumble. Concession stands see fewer customers. Even businesses around the arena suffer losses. Let's be honest. The All-Star Game was exposed as just another game when Clark wasn't. Involved it still had big names. Aja Wilson, Breena Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and others. But none of them could replicate what Clark brings to the table. Not even close. The excitement was gone. The passion missing. The only thing left was damage control, but the worst part wasn't the empty seats. It was the TV ratings. The numbers don't lie. Regular season games featuring Clark had higher viewership than the All-Star Game without her. For instance, the Chicago Sky vs. Fever game on May 17th pulled in 2.7 million viewers. The Liberty vs. Fever game on May 24th had 2.22 million. And another matchup between the Fever and Liberty on June 14th drew 2.2 million. All of these were just routine games. Yet they outperformed the All-Star Game by a mile. Meanwhile, the 2025 All-Star Game only brought in 2.19 million viewers, a massive crash from last year's 3.44 million. That's a 36% drop. This wasn't just a coincidence. This was a direct result of Clark not being there. The WNBA tried to pump up other stars. It didn't work. Because this isn't about basketball quality, it's about star power. And right now, there's only one player who has that gravitational pull. Fans are also fed up with the league's tone deafness. Officiating has been horrendous. Clark gets hammered game after game with no protection. Meanwhile, league officials act like everything's fine. Kathy Engelbert seems clueless, and fans have had enough. If that wasn't bad enough, the players themselves made things worse. During warm-ups, some wore shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." The backlash was immediate and brutal. The optics were horrible. Here were players demanding more money, while the one player generating the league's income sat injured. It looked entitled and ungrateful. Fans saw right through it. The truth is clear. Without Caitlin Clark, this league doesn't just suffer, it collapses. The WNBA may not want to admit it, but she is the engine driving everything. Attendance, viewership, merchandise, revenue. And no matter how many press releases they send or how many hashtags they push, nothing will change until they recognize and protect their most valuable asset.